Hi everyone, my name is Sarah and I thought it'd just be fun during quarantine to do a little video to talk about my journey with veganism. My soon-to-be husband had encouraged me to create this video because so often when people either find out that I'm vegan or we're out to eat or whatever, they'll ask about it, what made you make this decision, do you feel better with it, etc. So I thought a fun activity during quarantine would just be to, share for those who are interested, and if you have any questions, let me know. So I have been vegan now since 2014, so 6 years. And prior to that I was vegetarian, so this shift wasn't as difficult as maybe it would be if you are eating a standard American diet and then trying to shift, but just kind of wanted to walk through what that was like. So originally I have always just been interested in health, and then I started hearing or following different people on whether it was YouTube or social media, and one of those people was Kimberly Snyder. So this is one of her books, The Beauty Detox Solution, and this other one that I have is Beauty Detox Foods. So Kimberly Snyder is actually a celebrity nutritionist. To be honest, I can't remember how I stumbled across her, but I was really intrigued to learn from her because she dives into the science behind why certain things are better for your body and how your body metabolizes different foods, what types of nutrients are readily available in different fruits and vegetables. So rather than just kind of blindly believing, I loved the fact that there was science to back it up. So I was learning all about that. I originally became vegetarian because I didn't like the taste of meat. And then since then, of course, my journey has unfolded a little bit more. Moved into veganism because of just health reasons, wanting to be healthier. And then, of course, looking at animal rights issues, that sort of a thing. So, yeah, it's hard to tell whether to call it plant-based or vegan. I know the really hardcore vegans say that if you aren't vegan in all aspects of your lifestyle, then you shouldn't be calling yourself vegan. So maybe we'll stick with plant-based. But sorry if I interchange the words. Also, I should probably give a disclaimer that I am not a doctor. I'm not an expert. Just sharing, my journey over the last 6 years, what's worked for me and what feels best for me. Okay, so after exploring Kimberly Snyder, I then stumbled across this woman named Christina Carrillo Bucarem, and she eats a raw vegan diet, and it really intrigued me. It just kind of made sense in those ways where sometimes your brain just clicks. That eating raw fruits and vegetables, nuts and seeds would be, really good for your body. And she is from Texas. She grew up and had a lot of health challenges. I don't want to butcher her story, but hopefully I can just give you some background. So she was in and out of hospitals and nothing really seemed to be working. And then she was in Whole Foods one day and this man approached her and somehow, I guess, physically saw that something was wrong with her. I think she was looking frail, and said, you should just try a raw vegan diet. I guarantee that it can help you. And she was desperate at that time, and so she tried it, and she's been raw vegan for a number of years, and it completely healed her body. So I'm not trying to say that, this is the one and only way it's going to heal everything. Not at all, but it was just intriguing to me. And the thought of eating raw fruits and vegetables made a lot of sense. So I started eating a raw vegan diet 6 years ago. So like I said, that means raw fruits and vegetables, nuts and seeds, nothing that's cooked. So I'll just go quickly through the pros and cons. I did that for about 8 months, I want to say. The pros were that I had the most energy that I've ever had. It really motivated me to exercise more. I felt great in my body. I felt light all the time, so I never had that kind of sluggish feel after you eat too much or even after you eat lunch or anything like that. So I was eating a lot of smoothies, salads. There are different recipes and such that you can make that are raw vegan. Now it's become a little bit more widespread, so I wouldn't be surprised if maybe some of you have heard of it. But at the time it was kind of, I don't know if it was new, but it was new to mainstream. So the con really, and the reason why I stopped doing it, was because it was really socially ostracizing. So as you can imagine, at the time I was living in Chicago, and a lot of what people do there is go out to eat, hang out with friends, and during that time, the restaurants, didn't really have those types of options on the menu, so it was not fun for me to go out and just eat a plate of lettuce. Obviously, I was still extremely hungry after that. Yeah, so while I will say I had a ton of energy. At the time I was in graduate school and working as a graduate assistant, so I had the flexibility to be able to eat when I felt hungry, make smoothies and stuff. I know sometimes when you're working a 9 to 5 or working anywhere, it's hard to pick and choose your meal times and be able to prep them, in real time. So that was super helpful for me to maintain that diet, but ultimately I just kind of was like, maybe I'll shift into just a standard vegan diet and incorporate some cooked foods into it. And a lot of this is just kind of experimenting with your body and what feels right to you. And like I mentioned, while I felt physically amazing while I was eating that way, just my social life, I felt it was constantly on my mind. And you never want food or what you're going to eat, when you're going to eat, to take over your mind in that way, because it can be really toxic. So I shifted to a vegan diet, and that's been for the last 5+ years. So incorporating cooked foods into my diet. And for those who maybe don't know exactly what, or plant-based, I know I keep interchanging those words, what that means, it means no animal byproducts. So of course no meat, no dairy, no eggs. Honey is kind of a weird one. Super strict vegans won't eat honey. Some say, I don't know, maybe it's not hurting the bees, so you can eat it. Either way. Yeah, so I would say the most beneficial things for me, and this was again moving from a vegetarian diet to a raw vegan diet and then to a standard vegan diet, I would say still the energy levels are up, so you don't really have that, depending on what you're eating. There's so many things, but I feel like I should clarify that you can eat a vegan diet but be eating really unhealthy food. So I'm sure you've seen now on menus at restaurants or at different restaurants that are fully vegan, you can get vegan milkshakes, vegan cake, vegan cupcakes, vegan burgers and whatever. And that's not to say I don't enjoy those every once in a while, but they still aren't the healthiest options. Of course, I think everyone with common sense knows that if you're really going to be doing something good for your body, eating fruits and vegetables is the healthiest way to go. So yeah, the benefits were that I had the energy. It also, dairy causes your body to create, it's like mucus forming. So I know this is kind of gross to talk about, but maybe you can relate where, if you're eating a lot of dairy, your throat kind of feels coated, and you might kind of, when you swallow or when you're kind of like bringing stuff back up, it's like a thick kind of gross feeling. So when you cut out dairy, that really subsides. And otherwise, just health-wise, I feel like it's easier to maintain a slimmer physique. Of course, I think now a lot of people go by the phrase that it's 80% diet, 20% exercise. So not to say that exercise isn't important, but when you're eating a clean vegan diet, you don't have to worry as much about what you're putting in your mouth, because oftentimes what is considered a clean vegan diet is healthy for your body. What else? Yeah, I don't know. I guess that's it. It's been a great 6 years. I don't feel like I'll ever turn back. Like I said, it doesn't work for everyone. Some people may try it and feel like, this just doesn't feel right in my body, which is totally fine. For me, it works extremely well. And I love it. I've gotten used to it. I would say at first, because it wasn't as mainstream 5-6 years ago, It was a little bit harder to maintain, not when I was cooking for myself at home, but just going out to eat with different people, especially working a 9 to 5, which I have for a number of years, you know, trying to either pack the right lunches, or if you don't, or if you're going out with coworkers or whatever. But now it's become so, you know, mainstream, especially in urban areas, that a lot of times restaurants will have at least one item that's vegan on the menu, if not a whole separate menu that's vegan. So yeah, I don't know. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. Yeah, just thought this would be a fun thing to do in quarantine, and maybe I will share some other things I've been doing. I like to read a lot. I've been binge watching Outlander, which is an amazing show if you like historical fiction. Yeah, let me know. Thanks.